Good morning. I'm Rosemary DeTrolio, and you're listening to The Lightwalker's Path. It's a place to develop new insights, find your soul's purpose, hear enlightening conversation, and be inspired. Good morning. I'm Rosemary DeTrolio and the host of The Lightwalker's Path. We're streaming live on multiple platforms. Join me every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern to find your soul's purpose and usually listen to some enlightening conversation. Find replays on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other streaming platforms. So today, it's just me. I'm going to be teaching about the idea of vibration. Vibration is something that you may hear the word thrown around here and there. You may wonder, what are they talking about with this vibration stuff? And you may not really understand what the concept is. So I'm here to explain it. And if you have any questions, you can always text in or call, and I'll be happy to either clarify or help you out. So the premise behind a lot of energy healing is that the person that is the healer has a higher vibration than the person that they are working on. So if two people are both sick and they're trying to help each other, it's really a struggle. But if one person has a higher energy field around them, they're able to shift and help the person with a lower vibration field. And I want you to think about if you've ever been in a situation where you were kind of in a funky mood or bad mood, and you meet someone that's really upbeat and happy. And I want you to think about what it does to your mood. You might find that when you're around someone with a very positive attitude, it also helps to shift you into higher resonance and vibration. Okay, so now, what does that word mean? In science, we're really not solid beings. We have molecules, cells in us, atoms, all kinds of stuff revolving around. And because our body appears in a solid form, you don't realize that these pieces of cells and that are moving all the time. Even in a solid object like this, all right, this is made of cells that are actually more stable. When cells move around, they have energy in them. And our body has moving energy in cells that replicate and recreate. Okay, so the word vibration is actually also not only a scientific term that's used for that kind of thing, but also an emotional term for the energy of upbeatness and love and higher emotions related to that word of vibration. If you've noticed a mood change with someone positive, you may also realize that that person probably has a higher vibration. They are sitting in a more positive state of mind. Okay, what's a shift? A shift is when you elevate your own consciousness. How does it happen? It happens for many people for many different ways. Sometimes it's a calling or a search within you, and that's what happened for me. I've always had this lifelong search to help people, and I started out, teaching people, through most of my career. And then I just extended it into teaching some of these spiritual things that I understand that I wanted to share with people. Elevated consciousness comes from the shift when you decide that there's more than just the physical form and the here and the now and the earth. It's when you go seeking and searching. And many times you're going to find when you seek and search, the answer is in you, but you may have missed it. You may not realize that it's there. Some people find it through meditation, which is a great way to tap into this inner wisdom. Some people find it through other people. They may go to readers for a while and really, search around, poking here, poking there to try to figure something out. Sometimes you'll find it through enlightened words in books. One of the reasons why I love writing so much and why I publish so many books is because it's another avenue for people to find an answer that they may have been searching for. And I found myself, when I was first on my search to find this spirit within me, I'd be reading something and all of a sudden I'd wow, that really hit me. And something would just I'd get this, what's called quickening. You'd get that chill on your body when you hear a truth that resonates with you. And that would happen at times when I was reading a certain material, book, or truth that I come across. You might also get that if you hear a truth that resonates with you. either with a reader or just even, it could happen anywhere. You could be just listening to conversation, walking through, the mall when you're shopping, and all of a sudden somebody will say something, it'll just hit you. You'll overhear a bit of conversation that sort of leads you and reminds you of your soul path. Many people are sensitive to earth energies, and they may feel a lower vibration shift when the planets move, or when there's a problem on the earth, or when there's a war. I know a few of my healer friends are very keyed into the earth energy, and they will feel a drop in their energetic field when something happens, even in another part of the world. Thank goodness I don't have that. Mine is very localized to my own mindset and what's happening around me. So that's really great. Some people that are really high vibration but extremely ungrounded and don't understand why will often blow out light bulbs when they pass. One of my former clients, actually he is a client, one of my clients came to me with very unstable energy, and he'd go down a street and the light bulbs would blow. And at first he's like, am I haunted? Do I have this special power? What it was ungrounded energy. When I first started working in the spiritual realm, before I actually stepped into it full time, I would have strange things happen, like things would fly out of cabinets that I didn't touch. And I'm like, what is going on? Is it a poltergeist? No, it was my own energy that was shooting out and it was not stabilized. So one of the helpful things to do is to maintain your center and to be grounded. And one of the ways you can do this is walking out in nature and actually imagining roots from the bottom of your feet centering and grounding you. Autistic kids often come in with a very high vibration in their energy field. The energy field being not only within them, but the energy which is called your aura, which is the energetic field around your body. I'll come back to that in a second, but they've actually photographed, when you get a CAT scan, they actually photograph the inside of the body and the energy of it, right? There's part of the CAT scan which the doctors and that don't use, and it's the outside of your body and the energy pattern outside of it. Oftentimes it's removed from the plate because they're using it for a different purpose. They're looking inside the body, not necessarily outside of it. But the outside of the body is the energetic field, and that is actually called your aura. So many times when autistic kids are born, their vibration is very, very high, so high that when they're born into this dense body and they come to Earth, they can't kind of balance the earth energy with their own. And it creates almost a hypersensitive situation for the child. I believe that they're sent here as messengers, and their soul probably chose to come in at a certain time to help enlighten or to teach compassion. And I do believe that with any child that comes in with some sort of disability, their job and their sacrifice is to come in to help the adults learn compassion. Maybe they came in because if they show up, they're going to help their parents change a law. There's all kinds of reasons that we do what we do, and our soul does what it does. So what are the gifts of a high vibration situation? Well, first thing, how you know you're in high vibration is that you will feel, people will feel drawn to you, all right? One of the main things that you know that you're kind of in sync and on the right path is when people are really drawn to you. You can go somewhere and they'll like sit down and talk to you. They'll smile when they see you. They'll call you for advice. You'll kind of be like a beacon of light for that person. If they're in a bad mood and you're with them for a short time, they feel elevated just by seeing you or your presence. That's a high vibration situation. High vibration people often go hand in hand with those of us that are empaths, sensitives, or highly emotive kind of souls, right? One of the difficulties that we have as empaths and sensitives is sometimes we give too much and we don't get it back, or you may be with someone that abuses your good nature. So oftentimes you may find two people bonded together, one of them might be a healer and the other one is on a healing path. And that's quite common because people are drawn to healers and people with light energy to help them shift. All right, another way to know you're really aligned is that you will connect with positive people. You're going to have more of an inner focus, not an outer focus. So, in other words, when I'm making a decision for myself, first thing I do is I feel it in my body and go inward. Then I kind of decide what I need to know, what I don't know about the situation yet. And then I'll search. If I need to learn, let's say, how to do my business better, I might go to a marketing person because that's something I don't know very well, right? If you are making a decision on if you should, let's say, do a talk. For me, if I do a talk in public, what I usually do is I sit with the idea for a little while. I see how the idea feels in my body. If I'm getting a shut down feeling or a closed off feeling, then I wait on the decision or I come back to it later. If I get an open, expansive, immediate yes feeling in my body, then I know right away it's good. After that, I can ask friends, I'm thinking of this opportunity. Are there any blind spots that I'm not seeing that you can see? And that's when I sometimes will ask some people for their advice. But basically, the decision always comes from my body and my truth. When you're more inner focused, you're often more confident with your decisions because you don't have to sit on it and doubt yourself. When you're more confident, you're not living to only please other people. You're also understanding that you are part of the mix to please yourself. You become more discerning, and that doesn't mean judgmental. You become less judgmental and more discerning, which is a much better word. For instance, if I get a very dark or negative vibe from someone that I'm going in business with, for instance, or doing something with, I trust that feeling to know that there's something I'm not seeing under the surface that I need to be aware of. It doesn't mean I'm saying, oh, that person's a bad person. It may not just be the right connection for me. High vibration people also are more open-minded. So open-minded, again, you could still be discerning and open-minded at the same time. Discerning means deciding what is right for you and your authentic truth. You allow yourself to learn and to listen to advice. So if I mess up and make what I call a mistake or, a goof on something, or I say something that I shouldn't have said, and someone tells me something, I have to be open-minded enough also to listen to that advice for myself and consider, well, was I too harsh with my words? Did I not consider their point of view? And I have to look at it for myself as well because I don't know everything. No one does. So you have to be open-minded to advice, and if it's good advice. I don't take negative criticism from somebody that is a negative person or someone that always has negative things to say, because they might just be fault finding and looking for ways to knock down positivity. So you have to be careful with that. I also notice glimmers of hope rather than bad things first. So I know it's really common for us to notice the negative first because that's the thing that's louder. That's the thing that makes you stop and say, oh my goodness, what if, what if? But instead, if you look for moments of positivity, signs and synchronicities that lead you to the next decision, that would be the best way to feel more positive about what you're doing. I'm the cup is full kind of person. So basically, thank goodness I am an optimist. And a lot of times, if you have a pessimistic person in your life or a pessimistic person in general that you've come across, you'll notice that they're always waiting for the other shoe to drop, so to speak. They're like, well, if I'm too happy, this might happen. Or I want to prepare myself in case, blah, 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 blah. Preparation is different than living in fear. And low vibration people tend to live in fear, doubt, and regret more than I'm looking for the better to happen. I'm looking for the positive. If you focus on the negative, that will increase and you will notice it more. If you focus on the positive sides of things, that will increase and you'll notice it and see it more. So one of the things I would suggest you do is to look for positive moments that you can kind of focus on. And one of the best really helpful practices that I love to do, and I always used to do this when I taught kids, was to, at the end of each day, write down what you're grateful for, even if it's something really small. Like today, it's a beautiful day. I'm grateful for the weather. I'm grateful I'm in good health. I'm grateful for family. And I go through all the things that I can think of that bring joy to my heart. And when you focus on those moments of gratitude, your vibration shifts to a higher state of being, because gratitude is very close to the feeling of love. And when you live in gratitude or in love with life in general, your general vibration will increase, thereby increasing the energy field you have around you and the connection you have with other people. If you find yourself in a pattern where things keep happening, you keep coming up with the same situation, the same person in a different face, then there's something you need to look at. And I'm going to come back with that after the break. This is the Lightwalker's Path. Grow your spirit with Rosemary. Stay with us. Be right back. Welcome back to the Lightwalker's Path. Grow your spirit with Rosemary. And today's broadcast is about vibration and frequency, what it is, how to get it, what to do about it. So I wanted to mention a quote by Tesla. If you want to find the secrets of the universe, think in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. And Einstein's quote, everything is energy and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want and you could not help but get that reality. And that speaks on the power of your mindset to manifest what you want to bring into your life. The problem is that if you don't know that you can actually do this and you're a negative thinking person, you may be drawing in a lot of negative situations without even realizing it. So that I'm going to explain that in a moment. So frequency, again, is the vibration of your bodies vibrating with molecules, electromagnetic energy waves, and the rate of vibration. A high vibration person will resonate with a feeling of love and happiness and positivity. All right, high vibration emotions. Here's how you can check yourself to see where you fit in the vibrational frequency realm. If you are living with anger, pride, and sadness, if you have limiting beliefs, negative self-talk, worry, defeatist I can't attitude, not trusting your gut, living in shame for things that happened to you or for you, blaming and fault finding, or apathy, fear, or grief, those are very low vibration emotions that will affect how you notice everything in your life. I want you to think about if you had your eyeglasses and you darkened them and you're looking at the day, even if it's bright sunlight, you're going to see a dark day, right? It's the same with emotion. If you are looking through the eyeglasses of someone that's been hurt, someone that's holding blame, someone that has apathy, someone that lives in fear, everything they see is going to bring up this same lesson because that's what they have not healed. If you are living in a higher vibration mindset, you are going to be living and being more aligned with your purpose, what you need to do, and what brings you joy. Many times we create our own blocks when we're not ready for a change. For instance, let's say I have an opportunity, and the opportunity would be, would you like to speak in public? And I'm terrified of speaking in public. What am I going to do? But I'm going to think of all kinds of reasons why I'm not ready or why I can't do what I was asked to do because of fear. So fear has become my block, has become a block to what I need to do to move forward in my life. So you might notice that that's for you as well. When you're ready to make a shift or a change, you might come up with all these reasons why you can't do something, rather than being open to the possibility that there might be parts of something you have to learn how to do, and you just have to step in and try it. I'm all for jumping in. So when I learn something new, I want to try it out right away. I've always been like that, and it excites me to learn something new and just, how do I do this? How could, who can I ask to help if I'm stuck on this one point? And that also lets me live with a joyful feeling of there's more that I can learn, there's more I can do, there's more people I can help. Part of my aligned purpose in living in flow is to know that it's teaching and guiding. I love to help other people align with their purpose, and I do offer transformational talk sessions for people. I offer angel readings for those people that are serious and want to go deeper and find out what their path or purpose might be. I also have a course, a self-study course called Raise Your Vibration in 30 Days. I have that listed on rosemaryd.com under self-study. I also have one called Be Your Own Superhero, which helps you define and find your true, authentic self through exploration. So if you're interested in either one of those courses, you could find them on my website, or you could contact me at info@rosemaryd.com. Okay. One of the things I had to get over in order to be the high vibration person I wanted to be, I was very shy as a child. I spent most of my time observing people, and instead of talking, chatting, or expressing myself, I would watch everyone. I would learn. And I was really quiet until I was about 22, and I wanted to be a school teacher. And I knew that if I was shy, I couldn't get in front of a bunch of kids and talk or teach them anything. They would eat me alive. So the teacher was really smart. He videotaped all of us doing a lesson. And what I realized after I watched myself was that I was pretending I was really confident. So when I watched myself, I couldn't tell that I was terrified. So I figured if I can't tell, people who are watching me couldn't tell. And after I did that for quite a while, my shyness just disappeared because I realized that I can project what I wanted to project. Years ago, when I was teaching kids, I had a little girl in my class who was adorable, and she was considered a selective mute. She didn't talk in preschool, she didn't talk in kindergarten, and I taught her in first grade. And one of the tricks I told her was we had to do book reports and, talk about a book we loved and share it with the class. She wasn't used to talking at all, much less getting in front of the class. So I told her, I said, I'm going to tell you a little secret. I said, if you pretend you're an actress and you go in front of the group and you just think of an actress you really love watching on TV and you pretend you're her, you'll do a phenomenal job telling about your book report. So she looked at me, she goes, oh, and then she got in front of the class and she did her book report, and everybody was shocked because this girl hadn't said a word all year. So it's just, I kind of taught her the trick that I used when I was really new at wanting to speak in front of groups. And it's just putting the energy out that you want your people to understand about you. And they will feel the energy of it rather than your own thought process in your head that's saying, oh my goodness, they're looking at me. So one of the tricks is to develop the idea that you are more than just your fear that's in your brain, and that once you set it aside, people are more concerned with how you're thinking of them than that they're thinking of you. Okay, so I've learned to step into my authentic self through life. And part of it is when you go through life issues and problems, the best way to shift yourself out of that situation is to always go back to what did you learn? If you have learned nothing, the situation will repeat in another person, another face, or another place. If you've gone through something and you can shift and change, what did you learn? What growth did you get from that problem? You will resonate higher. You will learn from the situation, and chances are you'll recognize it faster when you see it again. The problem is if you don't learn from it, you'll go back into pity, self-blame, feeling bad from yourself, blaming your mother, blaming your father, blaming your childhood, instead of making the shift and taking back the power in your own life. Because everyone has been raised by parents, or everybody has been raised. We've all been children. We've all been affected by teachers, spouses, friends, children, everything. We all get affected by our patterns and by who we are and what we notice in our life. And the more that you can shift yourself away from, kind of going into self-blame and pity, the more you will take back your power. Why let your childhood take the rest of your life, take the rest of the real estate in your brain for the rest part of your life? You have to choose to make a shift. Sometimes you might need a good counselor, a good therapist. You may need some self-care. You may need someone that can guide you in a different way. So I guide people as well on making life shifts. But if it's something really serious and you're really struggling, you may need a counselor, psychologist, or sometimes people need medication if they have a really serious issue. And all those things are tools that you can use or that can help you make shifts.
So if you find yourself really stuck, that might be a good thing that you can look into. Okay. All right. Low vibration. I'm going to just go back to low vibration just so you can see if this is where you might be. Hopefully not. If you live in shame, guilt, fear, or apathy. If you have a limiting belief on what's possible for you. Okay, we're back. So, we're talking about frequency and vibration. So, the normal frequency is 7.5 hertz, and gratitude is 540 megahertz. You're going to see the numbers a lot higher because it's a higher vibration emotion. All right. I have pulled a couple cards I wanted to share with you today, and then I want to go to some ways that I had helped to increase my vibration, and some of these things may also help you. So the first card that I pulled is my question was, what do people need to know today? And I got the card self acceptance. And self acceptance means accepting the good, the bad, what you consider bad, okay? Because bad emotions or bad events are really opportunities for us to learn and to shift. Looking for signs and synchronicities was the next one. When someone is in flow and they are on a path, you're going to notice there's lots of coincidences that start to occur. The occurrence might be, I don't know, a book falling off a shelf, a person mentioning something that you are also interested in learning. It could be anything, but you're going to notice that they're going to increase once you are moving in the correct direction for you. The other card that I got today was a celebration card, which means that you are also to celebrate the successes and the learning that you have been able to do. So, for instance, if I went through something difficult and I came out the other side and I'm in one piece and I'm, starting my life, I have to congratulate myself on learning the lesson I needed to learn before I move on. And that's another way that you can increase your emotional awareness and frequency. Some of the things that I have used to shift my own awareness, I've used gratitude. Okay. I've read a lot of books that from enlightened people, like Dyer, and there's many spiritual teachers that are very good that have enlightened me along the way. I practice prayer and thankfulness. So I usually say a prayer in the morning. I want to be a blessing and light to anyone I see today. And at night, I review my day and see if there's anything I could have done differently. And if so, I try to keep that in mind. I like to be in service. So being in service to other people for different purposes, and you do it in a quiet way, that's really great. Sometimes I go visit people, or I may do a good deed or offer something. So whatever you can do that's service to you, that's for someone else, that's great. Um, Desire may change. So, for instance, if I am used to eating a certain low vibration food, I might shift what I want to eat. And one of the things I tell my Reiki students is before I do an attunement or a Reiki session with them, avoid pork, avoid any kind of alcohol. Pork is actually a low vibration food. And yes, I do love it. And it's quite tasty. And I'm not telling you to give up your bacon. But you might decide when you're trying to be in a high vibration state to avoid some of those things that drop your vibration. Alcohol in itself, a little bit, fine, but it's when it's excessive, it's not healthy for you because it overloads your liver and it's not good for you. So again, that's a choice that you make. But before I attune someone to the Reiki system, I always tell them to avoid those things, drink more water, and be ready for an energy shift. The process of attunement, when I train someone with Reiki, has to be done in person. And what it does is it opens up the healing channel in their body, it raises the soul vibration, but it's not just me. It's that person has to understand when a lesson comes up after attunement, it's an opportunity to learn from it and release it. And that is what helps their vibration raise. And I've had some remarkable stories from clients after I've attuned them. One person left their job, another person was on a completely different healing journey after I met them. Another person changed her marriage status. Someone else just started eating differently and started feeling really, really positive. So each person has a different effect of what for them is their authentic truth and their vibration and what they need. Okay. Animals may attract to you too, and that's kind of a funny thing. I always think of the Cinderella movies when I was a kid, where the little girl walks outside and a bird lands on her head and a deer comes out of the woods. I always kind of felt like that as a kid because animals would always look at me, come out of the woods, stop. Was able to pet like a little bird on top of its head. I used to pet bumblebees and hold spiders. So animals will know that you're not going to harm them, and that's a higher vibration state. And I had done some research on like the Native American culture and early hunters. So they were so comfortable walking through the woods to get their food that the animals wouldn't run. They would kind of, be present. Also, I was reading somewhere about the Aborigine people that they actually can see trails where an animal has been, but not the footprint trails, but light trails. And I thought that was really interesting. Okay. Meditation is a great thing. So I know that many people that are in the spiritual realm are really great at meditating. My meditation always happens either when I'm doing Reiki on someone, which is the energy system I practice, or when I'm walking in the woods or walking around the lake. I kind of breathe and do a walking meditation. And to me, it works because I have a busy mind. And one of the tricks that I've had to do was kind of train my mind to not just empty, but to be more present with what's around me. And that really helped me to shift. One of the early experiences I had before, well, I was going for a master's degree for education many, many years ago. And one of the last classes I took was stress management for kids. And the teacher made us do like a day of silence. And during the day of silence, for me, it was kind of like a meditation, mainly because my brain was so bored because I couldn't talk to anybody. He told us, don't look at anybody, don't talk to anybody, just like be totally, immersed in the moment. And while this was happening, I guess my brain made a shift and I started seeing colors around trees. I saw colors around the grass. I saw light around things. So when I went back into the classroom, we were able to talk just for lunchtime. I started seeing colors around people. And one of the women in the room had a very green, bright aura. And I walked up to her and I said, listen, I've read that when you have a green aura, you're a healer. What do you do for your job? And she was a nurse. And that's when something clicked on. I went, oh my goodness, if I can do this, what else can I do? So that night I went home and I said a prayer. And I basically said to God, all right, I've been teaching. You wanted me to be masterful. I got my master's degree. I don't think that's what you wanted me to do. What else is there? So I sat by my computer and all of a sudden I felt a searing heat go through my body. And I felt like an energy behind me, which I know now is Angel Uriel. And I started getting words, and that's when I started writing down what I was sensing. And it became one of my first messages that I got from an angel, and it was Angel Uriel. And it was all about being a guide and a light to help other people shift. And I thought that was really cool. That happened like probably in 1992, 1993. So I've been channeling and working with the angel realm since then, and I do readings and stuff for other people too. So that was one of the things that really helped me to shift into what my purpose is here on Earth. Okay. Empaths and sensitives need clearing. They need really good grounding. So if you are a sensitive person, chances are you also are in a lot of drama or trauma, mama. So what I would tell you to do if you're a sensitive or an empath is to really work on grounding yourself, being out in nature, sitting by, trees, eating healthy foods, and really being very mindful of the people in your close circle. We often attract people that are low vibration or need our services, which is okay, but if they're your spouse or a loved one, it could really, really empty you out energetically. So you need to refill your cup and take care of yourself. And that might be going for a massage, going for a Reiki session, taking a salt bath, walking in nature, going to the beach, because beach is an awesome place to clear yourself. I know when I was teaching kids, the last report card, before I ever touched the report card for kids, I go to the beach for the day and I would sit on the beach and ground myself and smell the air and watch the ocean. And then I would go home and I'd be ready to, do the report card. And it always put me in such a great frame of mind because, these little souls were in my care and I wanted them to feel happy and fulfilled. All right. When you align with spiritual purposes, you also can increase your vibration. So with me and connecting with angels, that's in a really high vibration place because their vibration is high. And in turn, when I connect with them, it helps me to vibrate higher. I do actually teach people how to connect with their angels, how to connect with intuition, and how to use their inner gifts that they may have forgotten that they have. I have transformational talk sessions, so you can sign up for one of those for either 45 minutes or an hour. And I Zoom with you and I guide you. But it also is a cooperative thing. It's not just me dumping ideas on you. It's you taking those ideas, seeing what fits for you, and trying them out, and then checking with me. So it's a cooperative session, which is different than a straight, when people go to psychics, they kind of want someone to dump all the answers on them. It's not like that. It's a cooperative effort. And those are for people that are really ready to step into what they need to help themselves. All right. And it doesn't replace your counselor, your psychologist, or anyone else you see. I am not a trained counselor or psychologist, but I've worked with tons of people through the years, hundreds actually, in different modalities. And, I've been a very good intuitive help for people. So, one of the things I would suggest that you do is self exploration. The more you learn about where your blocks are, what you need to heal, the better off you are with making shifts for yourself. Connecting with higher realms is an easy thing to do. Your angel's always with you. If you just pray to God and say, listen, whoever you call your God, creator, the all father, the sky father, whatever, does not matter. Whatever your faith is, when you connect back with the power of your own faith, you are going to make a shift. Why? Because just the act of being in faith or prayer raises your vibration and your frequency. Um, you can also ask yourself questions. Like you can write down, what if? So a what if question might be something like, what if I was able to forgive and then write somebody's name? What would it do for you? Would it free you? Would it make you feel more peaceful? Would it bring you joyfulness? So the what if questions are good things to ask yourself, especially when you feel blocked. When you're in harmonious alignment with your truth, you'll be living as a higher frequency person. Higher frequency people have more at their fingertips in their life to know what makes them happy. So high vibration people are in harmonious flow with their truth. They can let go of resistance. They could forgive easier. They could surrender better. They can tap into wisdom easier than if they're blocked. Okay, when you're blocked, and it's very frustrating because you won't know what to do. When you are unblocked, it's like the flow of the river is there for you and you're just like flowing in the river. You're not hitting those rocks, you're in the canoe and you can navigate through it much easier. If you find yourself in the presence of a judgmental, bully, name-calling person, you will know that they are a very low vibration soul. They will consider themselves over the highest good of all. So low vibration is not great to be around for too long. If you find yourself in the presence of someone like that, you may call that person a narcissist or a bully or just a negative person. They're all around. It doesn't mean that you have to allow them to be in your space. It doesn't mean you have to allow them to affect your mood. And it's really a practice because when you're with one of those people and they're in your family group or someone you know, it's kind of hard to allow yourself to shift away from their emotion and their effect on you. But once you do, it's very, very freeing. So one of the things that you could do is say, well, I'm sorry you feel that way, and just drop it. We have a difference of opinion. Let it go. Don't try to reason with someone that's really, really negative, okay? Because that's not helpful to you. All right, we're coming up on a sponsor break, it looks like, in about a minute. So please stay with me. I know we have a couple listeners. Don't go away. Stay with me. I'll be right back. Welcome back to the Lightwalker's Path, and thank you for staying with me. So, I wanted to tell you a couple of things that you can do right now or that you can do soon if you're ready. So, let's say you're at the start of your journey and you're just kind of dabbling and figuring stuff out. I have a free course on my website called Dip Your Toe In. And this just gives you an idea of just some things that are available that you can research on your own and see what if you're interested or not in those things. I have a course, Raise Your Vibration in 30 Days. And while you take the course, I usually know when you're taking it. And if you write me a question, I can always answer you. So there's connection between us through that online self study course. You can look at my books on Grow Your Spirit books. So if you go to my website, you'll see one side by side, which are my books. I have 3 books: Divine Messengers, which tells you about my journey. I have Inspired by Angels, a book from the heart. That's a workbook. And I have Wisdom Sages and Angels, which is also a workbook. You might also find them listed on my website. Those are good ways to start. Other things that you can do, you can sign up for a transformational talk session with me. In the meantime, you can also practice reframing situations. So when something comes up for you, reframe it in a positive way. So for instance, let's say your spouse is angry at you or something. You have an argument. Instead of blaming, go into, is what this person's saying true? Will it help me to understand this person better? Is there a way that I can express myself without causing blame that could shift us into a higher resonance? All right, because what happens is when you are in a higher resonance, you will shift the person you're with in a higher resonance too. If you are in a low vibration state and you start name calling or right fighting, you're going to pull both of you down because you're going to both do the same thing, and then you're always going to be in the same silly situation or fight. Watch your mindset and your positive talk, both to yourself and to other people. So you have to be really careful when you speak to other people and even children. When you have your own children, rather than pointing out the negative that they're doing, really try to notice the positive things. And you're going to see a big change in their behavior if you begin noticing those things instead. I really love when you, blah, blah, blah. It's really powerful for kids. And when you talk that over them, they really do want to please you. So that's going to really help them make a shift. Always ask yourself, what did I learn from the situation? Singing, music, sound therapy, very healing. The ocean, and if you're not near an ocean, take a salt bath in Epsom salt. That's my go-to for clearing my energy field. Being outside more in nature really raises your vibes. Remember the gratitude practice. You can do a journal too. You could do one for gratitude. You can also do one called What Did I Learn? And it would be kind of like your life lessons of what you learned from each situation that you would normally consider negative, that actually was an opportunity for you to shift yourself. So you can have like a What Did I Learn journey, a journal for your journey. And that's really powerful because you can go back to it and see how far you've come. Walk in love, peace, gratitude, acceptance, and love. Hard to do when you are walking around with shame, guilt, and sadness. So you have to make that shift the best that you can. Notice coincidences and synchronicities, especially if they occur 3 times. Sometimes if you hear something 3 times in a row, I really take notice and say, oh my goodness, I just heard that 2 more times today. There must be something I need to discover or learn about that coincidence. And then you'll find that it does. Move in the right direction. How you know you're moving in the right direction is you will not feel like you're fighting every moment. Sometimes when life is a fight and a struggle and a push, you are not in alignment with your higher purpose. Once you are in alignment with your higher purpose, it's more of a flow. It's more comfortable. It's more easy. Okay. Reframe your experiences best you can. So instead of reframing it with negative words, be really careful with the words you use because words are powerful. So you might say, in this situation, you're not going to say the person was stupid and I learned something. It's more like, I learned the kind of person that resonates best with me. I learned about myself that I can stand my ground when with negative people. I learned not to let it affect my mood. So you want to look at always the positive word framing also. If you're at the beginning of your journey and you find yourself being a spiritual junkie, that's a dabbler who goes to 98 different readers within a month, you will find that you are not trusting your guidance. And usually, if I have someone like that, I really encourage them, instead of going to 99 readers like every 2 weeks to find out what you should do next, that shows that you're not quite ready to take responsibility for your own spiritual growth. I would really encourage those people to set up an appointment where they can learn how to shift and use their inner wisdom better. Because obviously, if you're doing that, you don't trust your inner wisdom. You trust other people's inner wisdom more than yourself, which is okay in the beginning. But what I really want to encourage you to do is become a seeker and searcher and a move aheader. I don't want you to get stuck in always going to people, 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 people. I want you to go for the sake of learning about something, increasing your own information, moving ahead, finding your knowledge base, finding where your authentic self sits instead of allowing someone to take your kind of like your energy or your will. Your free will is really important. So even when someone comes to me for a reading, I always tell them, take what resonates with you right now and don't like blindly do something. Kind of just, really harness what you need. If you want to learn more about my workshops, sessions, books, or courses, please contact me at rosemaryd.com, info@rosemaryd.com. So please come back to the Lightwalker's Path, Grow Your Spirit with Rosemary, every Tuesday. Please subscribe, text. I'd love to hear from you. And try out my courses. Raise your vibes, become a superhero. Please come back. I'll see you every Tuesday.
I'm your host, Rosemary DeTrolio, and you've been watching and listening to The Lightwalker's Path. Learn about my workshops, sessions, courses, and more at info@rosemaryd.com. My website, rosemaryd.com, Hands of Light by Rosemary. Have a blessed and beautiful day.